Hey y'all, what's up? So, um, I am compelled to tell y'all something. It's very important to me. You are dope. And you know how you may not know you're dope, but the best test to do, which is my experience, and I don't even try to test it. Try to speak your mind. Try to speak your mind. If the people around you cut you off or try to out talk you or somehow make it where they're the center of attention while you're speaking or doing anything that you're doing, you may not know it, but you got power. No one in this earth with rational sense would try to cut off something that didn't make sense. They would not cut off something if it didn't hit a nerve. They would not cut off something if they didn't feel intimidated or in any way, shape, or form in a silent competition with you that you have nothing to do with. Pay attention to who you talk to and how they respond to you. Pay attention to what your conversation is and what theirs is. Everyone thinks differently. Everyone should have an opportunity to speak on what they feel, what they think, how they view things. I'm a very objective kind of a person. If I'm subjective, that more than likely means I'm emotional at that time. I try not to be emotional because, for what? I have other things to do. So, what I want you all to take note of is that if what you're saying, what you're doing, how you're affecting people around you, if it was minimal, you would never have anyone trying to get in your way, because no one is getting in the way of someone who has no effect. Nah, it's not gonna happen. Why? Because they have nothing to be threatened by. I had to acknowledge, and I've been trying to be humble about it, but I had to accept that I command a room. I can walk into a room. I can start speaking in a room. I can just stand in a room and my presence is felt. And I have to acknowledge humbly the power that that can have, because it can be positive or negative. It can be negative depending on who else is in that room trying to do what I'm doing naturally. Let's talk about it. What do you do naturally that someone has to actually try to do? Pay attention to it. Pay attention to them. Pay attention to everyone else. Pay attention to the people that's accepting and receiving it versus the people that's rejecting and talking shit about it. Pay attention to it. Because the person that's talking shit more than likely wishes they could do that too. Your biggest enemies are your biggest fans. They want to do just what you're doing, but they know they cannot. Not because they're incapable, but because they're not willing to put in the work. They have to work for what you naturally do. No one wants to do work. Everybody just wants what they want and they just do what they want to do. And then guess what? You have people, as you and I am including you in my narrative because I feel that you are dope just as well as I am. And I am very, very positive that you have a natural effect on people, things, environments that causes people to look at you, try to not like you, try to make some nonsense up, try to make a rational reason for being a dickhead. And guess what? It's not going to work. It's not going to work. They're going to try it because why not? But that's not your fight to fight. You can naturally do whatever it is. You don't have to worry. Now, don't take that for granted that you can naturally, you still have to work. But those things that you naturally can just tap into, pay attention to how many other people are trying to do that with effort and see how they act towards you. Pay attention to your environments. Pay attention to the people in your environments. And pay attention to how you affect and effect a situation. Because what you're going to find is you're dope. Plain and simple. No one is going to come for you if you have nothing to come for. No one is going to try to mess up your reputation or try to embarrass you or try to somehow make you feel small if you had nothing of value. No one is going to do that. Nobody. Because it wouldn't make any sense. So pay attention. If you are having a low day, remember, no one is going to come for you if you have nothing to send for them. You don't have to do nothing. You don't have to say nothing. If you don't have anything for anyone to be upset about, they will not bother you. Or they will bother you. The thing is, some people deal with this differently. Being a hater comes in different forms. We know that. There are people who will leave you, desert you, stop talking to you, just dissolve out of your life for no valid reason because they can't handle the fact that you have something that they want and they can't do. You have those people. You have the people who stick around and stay in your space, in your face, trying to figure out how to somehow learn how you do what you're doing so they can take it over. You have those people. You have the people who are around you and all they have to tell you is why you should not be yourself. Why what you're doing is not rational. Why what you're doing is not practical. Why all of the negatives, they bring up all of the negatives that you've already thought about and remind you of it continually because they are a hater in a way, whether it's conscious or not. They are feeding you fear because they didn't do it. And so why should you be able to do it? Or some people have well-intentioned perspective of, I don't want to see you get hurt. Just be there when I get hurt. If it's something I could have avoided, if you care and love me, you will still be there. If it's something I couldn't have avoided, but you thought it could happen, just be there. You're dope. And you should know that. Pay attention because the person that's giving you the hardest time could just be a lesson to you that you are doing something great. They could be your eye opener. Pay attention to them. Pay attention to what they say to you. Pay attention to what they criticize about you. Pay attention to what they're doing. And you'll be able to find out what your strengths are based on them being dickheads. And they are a lesson you would not learned had you not met them. So I love you. Do not forget this. And even if you do, I will remind you. Because if you loved you as much as I do, you would not be sad for long.